Every now and then, playing with a sample library becomes a strong emotional experience. And when that's the case, you may find yourself several hours later still playing around with the sounds, still experimenting. So here I am, 16 compositions later, excited at the idea of presenting this video for you. Let us go through a beautiful musical journey together with Venus Symphonic Women's Choir. Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well today. My name is ThomC and today we're going to be taking a look at Venus Symphonic Women's Choir by Soundiron. Soundiron is a sample library developer that's got a big catalogue of sample libraries going from experimental to organs to vocals to orchestral, strings and many more. The thing that I like about Soundiron and that's made me purchase their libraries over the years is their open-mindedness, the quality of their libraries, and also their beautiful interfaces. So today's video is a bit special. We're not going to go through the single patches, we're not going to listen to the sounds one by one, we're not going to do that. We're going to listen to them in context, and I've made 16 different tracks, 16 different contexts in which I used Venus with other sample libraries. And if you've been following my channel for a bit, you know that I like poetic intros, maybe asking questions or saying something that is inspiring to introduce the library. But what I said about it being an emotional experience is an understatement. Actually, I'm going to give you a quote, and this comes from Antonigo, the food critic from my favorite animation movie, Ratatouille. You've got to say it with the French accent. It goes like this: "To say that both the meal and its maker have challenged my preconceptions about fine cooking is a gross understatement. They have rocked me to my core." You and I, a delicate rise, I'll never feel. Let's now take a look at the content and user interface of the library. We've got in the instruments folder 4 different folders. Ambiances, combo, hall and stage. In the ambiances folder we've got C ambiances or cambiances, gambiances, melodic water and stabile mod layer. We've got a light version of these patches, and then we've got a combo folder, but we'll basically take a look at the hall folder because the combo folder is the combination of the hall and stage mics, and they have the same number of articulations. In the hall folder we've got choral effects. If we take a look at the different articulations or the different patches, we've got the effects all Amazing Grace solo, Amazing Grace, boops and hoots, clusters fall, rise, sustains up and down, then crowds, laughter, screams, shouts and whispering, and then we've got a K5 and light version or contact 5 and light version of these patches. In the legato folder we've got two-way patches with different vowels here, and we've also got like single legato patches, and again contact 5 and light version of these patches. Then in the Marcato folder we've got Marcato builder, phrase builder, then single SC, which uses the time machine of contact, and then we've got the singles, Marcato singles and Marcato sustains. Then we've got a polyfast version with polyfast Latin and Slavonic, which is actually Russian liturgic, and then we've got a slow, polyslow version of these, and then we've got 5 soloists, Latin, Slavonic, Latin, again, alto, and then sopranos. If we open the first Latin alto, we've got long staccatos, melodic phrases, polysustain slow, whisper chants. Then we've got in the Slavonic folder long staccatos and polyphonic sustains slow. And then we've got another alto Latin singer with melodic phrases and whisper chants. And then we've got sopranos. In the soprano Latin, we've got long staccatos, melodic phrases, polysustain slow and whisper chants. And basically the same in the Slavonic folder. We've got a staccato folder as well with 2-layer vowels with time machine, and then a regular 2-layer vowels patch. Then we've got another staccato SC patch, and then we've got the main staccato patch. We've got some sustains with 7 vowel sustain pad utility, all vowel sustains and some trills. And then we've got the whispers and drones with 3 drones and 3 whisper patches with Marcato sustains, polysustains and staccatos. Now we're going to take a look at the user interface, and we won't go through every single patch, otherwise it would take too much time, but we'll take a look at the main controls that you can find on these on each of these patches. Most of the time you can find some layers that you can choose from, low and high. Then you've got a range setting that allows you to change the distance between legato positions. Then you can choose the polyphony of the legato. Then you can also modify the speed of the legato transitions and also the crossfade of these. So you can basically shape the sound of the legato if you want to with these controls. You've got a legato on and off control. Then you've got a bending on and off switch that allows you to change the pitch of the notes while playing legato. And on the right here, we've got some shaping knobs that allows you to shape the sound even further, with a swell knob that allows you to change the volume of the sound with MIDI CC. Then you've got the X-Blend control that is very useful, that allows you to blend between layers. Then you've got an attack control, an octave control that allows you to change the pitch of the notes, and an offset control that is a sample start control if you want. And you can also randomize the sample start with the switch here, and you've got a release control that allows you to dampen or shorten the release or make it longer if you want to. Then in the convolution settings, we've got some effects. So a very good choice of impulse responses here that you can turn on and off. And then you've got a good choice of rooms as well, very nice churches and cathedrals that you can choose from. And then we've got some effects with an EQ, a vowel B, which is a filter, a resonant filter that you can use, then a delay and reverb. And then we've got the help section that shows you the what each control does. In some of the patches, you've got a stepping control that allows you to change the semitones of the notes, and you also have some key switches and some features that allows you to determine where you want them to be on your keyboard. Also, you can find a legato volume on some of the patches as well, and a range for the legato, so to further determine the range of the legatos. And you can also find a release volume control on some of these patches. In the Marcato builder, it's really useful and really nice, this one, because you can basically change the attack, sustain and release the way you want it, with a good choice of different vowels for each one of those. So you can really make them your own, and you've got a hold knob that allows you to hold the attack a bit longer. You've also got a release control, and the other ones are controls that we've seen already. And then we've got a phrase builder with 16 phrases that you can build, and we've got 16 steps for each one of those, with a very good choice of vowels. You can go from one phrase to the other. You can set the key switches for these as well, and you can basically either play staccato or marcato. And you'll see that sometimes the skin of the user interface changes. Here we've got the Latin fast polysustains, and we've got a Latin-inspired user interface. We've got some low and high layers or words, Latin words that we can use. And then we've got the same for the Slavonic patches, but with, again, a different skin, different interface that is inspired after the orthodox designs. In this example, we'll be taking a listen to a horror track I've made with the choir. I've used 2 instances of the C ambiances or cambiances. I've used some choir oohs, some legato oohs, and then some soloist trills. And the cellos and basses come from Kirk Hunter's concert strings too. So let's listen to it. So this is a smoother track, kind of a soft pop track where I've used some G ambience here, some sustained ooze. The bass is Rootbass by Pornophonic instruments that you'll find reviewed on my channel. Then the DX kick and snare come from DX from Mars by Samples from Mars, and the violins come from Spitfire Studio Strings Professional. So this is an emotional orchestral piece I've made with the library, and I started having an emotional connection with the library from this point on, where I used the legato and started having, just thinking about memories and listening to the music instead of, just playing around. And so I've used some legato some O's, some R's that you'll hear very discreetly in the background. I've used the Austrian Grand by UVI, then the drums, the strings, the brass, and the woodwinds are actually from East West Hollywood Orchestra Gold, and I've used the emotional cello by Best Service. So yeah, this piece is really something special to me. It felt special when I started playing it, and I hope you like it. There isn't a tremendous amount of mixing to it. I've just used Seventh Heaven Professional by Liquidsonics as a reverb to put everybody in the same room. And yeah, let's listen to it. This is a very simple example where I've used some ambient patches called Melodic Water. Makes you think that you could actually build some really nice intros on these patches. And the drums are the Linndrums by Samples from Mars. In this example, I've used the Marcato builder. One of the instances goes from Shi to Do, and the other one is actually the vowel E. Then I've used some drums, low strings and high strings in brass from Hollywood Orchestra by East West. Let's listen to it. Yeah, as you've just heard, I've used some electric guitars that are recorded, a bass that are recorded as well, and some drums by Stephen Slate. And regarding the choir, I used the phrase builder patch where I chose some of the vowels and syllables available there. So this is a tension building cue where I've used the Marcato SC using the Time Machine in Contact to design your own Marcato. Then I've used some clusters, a riser, and then I've used some brass and strings by East West Hollywood Orchestra. In this example, I'm using some Latin polysustains fast, saying Amen Gloria, along with Spitfire Studio Strings Professional. Let's listen to it. In this example, I've used some Slavonic polyphonic sustains, singing Drago Radila, and some accordion, a balalaika, a cymbalum, a two-pan coming from the UVI World Suite. The cello pits and the bassist pits come from Concert Strings by Kirk, and the snare is from VSCO Studios Chamber Orchestra. as much as I think it's fun to compose fast passages and epic stuff, my preference always goes for those very long pieces and slow ones. And in this case, I've used the slow Latin polyphonic sustains with Spitfire Studio Strings Professional. In this example, I'm using some slow Slavonic sustains that say Gospod, and I'm also using a legato vowel. Then I'm using a Balkanish bass, a Moldovan cymbalum, 2 instances of that come from the UVI World Suite, and then some cellos and violas from Spitfire Studio Strings Professional, and then some drums from Stephen Slate, drums 5.5. This is another piece that got me playing for quite a bit of time and that caught me on an emotional level. I started playing with the Latin slow soloist patch. It's an alto soloist. And then I added some O's, some legato O's, then some violins, violas, some pizzicatos. And I really connected with it, and I really felt like it all came together. I used the concert strings by Kirk, so concert strings too, and really felt like it fitted the piece and that it connected together. So I hope you like it too. In this example, I've used some solo Slavonic polysustains with altos and sopranos, and the strings again are concert strings too by Kirk. You notice that there's a nice proximity to the sound of the soloists in this piece. In this example, I've used some R staccatos, and the strings are concert strings too by Kirk again, and the synth bass is Factory by Sugarbytes, and the drums are Stephen Slate Drums 5.5. In this example, I wanted to have the feeling of discovering a beautiful African landscape, and in order to do so and express that in music, I actually chose the choir sustains and then some orchestral toms and tam-tam by Rhapsody Orchestral Percussion by Impact Soundworks. I used an African flute, some African vocals, guitar, and percussion that come from the UVI World Suite, and the strings are concert strings again by Kirk. In this example, I've used some drone staccato, some whispers, and the strings, brass, piano, and percussion come from Virtuoso by Kirk, and you'll find the review of the library on my channel. So this starts with a dramatic intro and ends with a melodic piano improvisation. Venus Symphonic Women's Choir is an exceptional library, and you can see that there's a ton of work that's been put into it. This library is a treasure of emotions, going from scary to angelic, from whispered to shouted. And I'm gonna be honest with you on this, I'm not a great reviewer, I'm a musician, you know, I share my experiences, I share my emotion, I share what I feel when I play with a new instrument. So yeah, I could take the approach of going technical and say, yes, this legato is better than this one, or this patch is better than this one, or this library is better than this one. But what I want to share is the experience that I felt, or that I feel when playing with sample libraries. That's why my reviews are always positive. It's because I love them, I just do. But this one in particular, I didn't see it coming, because I don't really focus on vocal and choir libraries because I'm a vocalist myself. But this really struck me, you know? Playing with this library basically felt like one of Chuck Norris's roundhouse kicks. Chuck, if you're listening to this, you know that this is a joke. You know I'm joking, right? So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed making it. I've really had a great time going through all the different patches, all the different sounds, and, you know, trying the different styles as well that I'm not really familiar with, but that I tried out for you guys today. So congratulations to you guys at Soundiron. I only have respect for you for putting in the time to do this kind of work and presenting this type of instruments to us, musicians, producers, producing on our laptops, on our desktop computers here at home and making music worldwide. Maybe one of the reasons why I was moved so much when playing with this library is just the human feel, you know, the things that have been captured in the recordings that you can actually control real time with your computer, with your keyboard. So please support me by subscribing if you want to, and if you like my videos. It's always great to see your messages and to contribute and to respond to your questions and all that, so don't hesitate to comment as well. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.